Welcome parents. This is a shorter video to go over what we presented during our past two parent nights so that parents could get some information and get to preview the tools that their students would be using to register for their classes for next year. Now, if your student is a 5th grader and coming to McLaughlin for 6th grade, I'm going to show you this form in front of me. They will be completing that with their 5th grade teacher, and this form will be submitted to our counselors, where they will then put the class requests into our digital registration system, and your student will be getting a schedule in the fall. If you have a current 6th or 7th grader at McLaughlin, they are also going to complete this form as well, and it will go to the counselors, but the current 6th and 7th graders will be completing an additional step to register themselves in our PowerSchool system for their classes. So this form right here, what I have in front of me is an example of a 7th grade registration form. So that would be a 6th grader going into 7th grade. Again, 5th graders will be completing this with their 5th grade teacher. Our current 6th and 7th graders are actually going to complete this form with their math teachers on March 15th and 19th. We're having them complete this form with their math teachers so that we can ensure that they select the correct math class to begin with, since that class is the one that has the most variation. So taking a look at this form right here, it will ask a student what is their current language arts class. With the exception of the 5th graders, it just provides them with 6th grade language arts to select, so they don't have necessarily as many options. Now, if I take language arts 6 this year, I click on that, it's going to give me the option for language arts 7 next year. So your student will click on the language arts class that it tells them they should be taking next year. Then they take a look at their schedule to see what the title of their current math class is. So if they take 6th grade math, it will give them the option for Math 7. If they're taking 6-7 accelerated, it will give them the option for 7-8 accelerated. And if they're taking IEP math, it's going to give them the option for IEP math 7. So it will give them the correct option based off of their current math placement. Science, history, and health and fitness are easy for your student to select because there is only one option for those. Now, for those students going into 7th grade, I really want to point out this Northwest History class right here. It is really important that your student passes Northwest History in the 7th grade. It is not worth high school credit. However, if they don't pass Northwest History in middle school, they do have to retake it in high school. Health and fitness is one of our elective classes, so it will be taken for the entire year. However, it's not taught every day. Your student takes health and fitness every other day, which means on the days that they are not in health and fitness, they need another class to go to. So one of the options that we have is a class in our fantastic music program that we have at McLaughlin. We offer 3 options in our music program: band, orchestra, and choir. There are descriptions provided next to it when your student is choosing. They do not need any past music experience to pick one of our music classes. So if they would like one of those options, they would choose either band, orchestra, or choir. They can pick one or the other. If they choose a music option, that is a year-long course. So that means for the year, they would be taking health and fitness and music, whichever music class they had chosen, and that would be it. For anybody going into 8th grade, we also offer Spanish 1 to our 8th graders. That is also a year-long course. So if your student chooses to take Spanish 1, they would be taking Spanish 1 and health and fitness for the whole year. They wouldn't pick any other elective options. However, if your student doesn't choose any of those options, they can say, I would not like a music class. And it's going to give them their options for the electives that we have available to our 7th graders, or whichever level they're in. The incoming 6th graders have the same options as our 7th graders, and the students moving up to 8th grade have the additional option of Spanish 1 and an advanced industrial tech class. So your student can read the class descriptions next to each class title, and then what they're going to do is they're going to rank the 5 classes in order from which one they would like the most. That would be option number 1, to the class they would like the least. That would be option number 5. What we try to do while they are here is give them their top 3 options, since we have 3 trimesters at McLaughlin, and they would be taking a different class each trimester for the days that they are not in health and fitness. So your student is going to select their options. They're going to put in their student number. They're going to put in their first and last name. And then also down here for 7th and 8th graders, they can ask for an application for our Avid Enhancement program that's taught during a different hour of the day. Our Avid class is for students who typically tend to be about C average students, but they have the potential to get higher grades. They just need some additional support and maybe some strategies for organization, studying, time management, reading and writing strategies, as well as some speaking strategies, and providing them with some strategies for confidence in the classroom when they need to advocate for themselves with their teachers. So students have the option, if they would like to apply to be in that program, they can click yes, send me an application, and we will get that to them, and we will start doing student selections and approving applications in the spring, or they can say no thank you. So once they get done making their selection and filling out the correct information, they would be hitting submit, and it's going to send this form to one of our counselors. If they are a current 5th grade student, that is the only step they are completing. The counselors will then take it from there and make sure their classes get input into the system correctly. Now, some of you might be wondering about placement in our advanced math courses or HiCap. That is based off of scores such as the COGAT scores or STAR testing. They are working on identifying students for those programs right now, so just know if your student is identified as being in any of those programs, the district will send us a list and we will make sure that they get the correct classes for the fall, even if they may be selected just Math 6 and they need to be in the accelerated course. We'll make sure that we switch that on our end, so there are no worries there. So 5th graders would be done at this point. If you have a current 6th or 7th grader, they are going to complete an additional step. So when this form gets submitted to the counselors, we are actually going to print off the paper copies of these forms, and we're going to give them to their science teachers. So on March 22nd and 25th, they will be completing the 2nd step of the registration process with their science teacher. I'm going to show you what that screen looks like right now. So students, it will be really important when on both steps of registration that they are bringing a charged laptop to school so that they can complete the registration process. So your student is going to log on to their student laptop. They're going to go to their My Apps, and they're going to click on their PowerSchool app. And when they open it, they're going to get to click on a little icon off to the left here that says class registration, and a screen that looks similar to what I have on my screen should pop up on their screen. So your student is going to use the paper copy of the form that they already filled out to help them select the correct classes in our registration system. Once they submit these would be considered, they're requesting these classes. So those requests go into our computer, and then the computer sorts them into classes from there with teachers based off of the classes that they have selected. So your student, when they complete this step, they're going to be able to see the list of classes that they have requested. However, they're not going to see which teachers they have for those classes or which periods they have those classes for until the fall, when we get our staffing finalized and we find out how many sections of each type of course do we need. So your student would be checking back in the fall to see who they actually have and what periods they're going to have those classes in. But you can see over here, the first option they're going to start with on this screen, this is a 7th grade screen again, is language arts, and your student will select the correct class based off of what they have on their paper copy of the form. If they're a distance learner, the form will be emailed to them, and they would be selecting their language arts class. You'll notice there's a red exclamation point here and a red exclamation point right there. That means that they cannot skip trying to register for one of those classes. They have to select one of those options because all students are required to take a language arts class. So they're going to click on their class, and you'll see that it changes from a red exclamation to a green check mark. So the computer knows that they have to make one of those choices. So all students have to take language arts, math, science, history, and health and fitness. So they will select the correct course based off of what's on their form. And then you're going to notice down here, these classes already have some green check marks, and that's because those are classes that they may or may not select. All students have to select some kind of class to be in when they're not in health and fitness. However, it doesn't have to be one of our elective courses. It could be music. It doesn't have to be music. It could be some of our elective classes. So that's why those ones already have a green check there. What we're going to have your students do if they're selecting music, then their schedule is done. They just hit the submit button at the bottom, and the computer will start sorting it out from there. However, if they're not taking music, they would be going with our electives option, and they would be picking their top 3 choices because they already ranked them from 1 to 5. We want to try to give them their top 3, so they would be selecting their top 3 choices, and then we're asking that they select 2 alternates. So the choices that they said were choice 4 and 5 when they were ranking them from 1 to 5, those would be the options that they would put right here. So that way, if any of those courses are full, we can provide one of their alternates. Once they get done with this step, they hit submit, and again, the computer will sort them into classes from there, and that will be finalized in the fall. And as always, if you guys have any questions about this, you can reach out to us. You can call us, or you can email any of us, any of the principals or the vice principal or the counselors as well, if there are additional questions that you have. Again, your students will be completing these processes in class with their teachers. There is no need for you to have them register at home or anything like that, but we will provide links to a practice copy of the form. I made one, copied it so that parents, if you wanted to kind of go over this with your students at home before they experience it in the classroom and talk about questions or courses that they could have, you are more than welcome to do that. This is a process that we're excited to bring to our students. It's the first year that they are actually getting to have some voice and choice and actually select their elective classes. But this process is really going to prepare them for high school. This is a very similar process that they use, and it's going to help them when they have to go into the system and register themselves. And they have the option to pick many more electives for the year in high school, but this is just going to give them some support that will help make that transition much smoother.